Hey there, it's Boots Owen here. This is my Stanley range. I've had it installed for about 4 years now, and I typically burn firewood, as you can see, but I also burn smokeless fuel. It's in the form of an oval compressed charcoal or compressed anthracite nugget. Normally everything's been fine, but I've started burning a lot more smokeless fuel this year, which ironically puts out a lot more smoke and soot than clean dry firewood. Have a look at the range with me. I'll show you how it's blocked up and I'll show you how I clean it out, which I've needed to do more often this winter. So here's the type of stuff I've been burning. It's just sold as ovals. It's about 3 inches, 4 inches long and about 2.5 inches across and about an inch thick. Before that I was burning Union nuggets. That was a few years ago now. Yeah, I've seen them for sale in Germany, and they used to be for sale in the UK, but I don't see them anymore. And Union nuggets aren't smokeless. They're a compressed brown lignite coal. This stuff, I don't really know what's in it, but there's a lot of sulfur clinker that comes out of it. I'll try and show you some of that in the ash pan. Compared to firewood, it leaves a lot of stuff behind. So it leaves a lot of clinker behind. It puts out a lot of smoke initially. Now that might be because it's damp. And it might just be steam coming off, or it might just be smoke, even though it is an approved smokeless fuel. The firewood, on the other hand, like this piece of ash here, this is really dry. It's been seasoned for a year, which is not very long, but because it spends a few days right in beside the range, it is very, very dry by the time it comes to burning it. And because it's so dry, what it tends to leave behind is a really light, white, powdery, fluffy ash. And I've really, in the time I've been burning firewood in open fireplaces or in closed fireplaces, if you burn really dry firewood, it tends never to leave any residue in the chimney. If you're burning oily, damp pine and things like that, resinous woods, it does leave a residue and you need to clean your chimney. But with something like ash or oak I was burning in the past, anything like that seems fine. The range is quite simple. I should talk about that first. You've got the firebox over here, and on top you've got a cooking hob. Firebox is on this side, in this door, and the ash pan's beneath that. The smoke comes over the top, and then down this side. Then it goes under the oven. Smoke goes down the side, under the oven, and then it goes up the back at the center through the chimney. Or if you open this damper here, in the position it's in now, the smoke goes straight out the firebox and up the chimney. So that's useful for lighting it. Or if you haven't got a great draw off your chimney, you might want to open this whenever you're refueling so that smoke doesn't come into the room. There's a damper here as well, so you can close down the oven side and stop the heat coming across the oven. And you can either dampen the fire completely that way or just divert the heat straight up the chimney. So these three things here, these three discs, are really just for cleaning, and let's have a look into them. So even underneath, there's a bit of stuff there, and it kind of looks like cobwebs or something, and I've never seen this before, and if you know what it is, tell me about it in the comments, because there's a good layer of soot built up on that, probably a couple of millimeters there, and it's got this kind of webbed feature. Almost like a mold or something like that, but this fire's been burning pretty much constantly for a couple of months now. Over here, look at that, like it's got this big... They're quite brittle. They're bone dry, of course. But I've never seen that with firewood. I've only seen it with these ovals. So I will clean all these as well. Again, more of these webs. What you should notice, and if we can get right in and zoom in, over here on the right, this space here, you should be able to... In this space on the right, there should be a channel the whole way down to the bottom. So if I get this, look at the thickness of that. Let's try and get in there a bit better. That's my lamp there, so we can see. It's got a really strong residue. Look at that. It's caked on with brown soot all around. And it's got about 6 or 10 mil on top of the firebox as well. So the other thing, what I noticed really, you see this gap here should be about an inch and a quarter wide. Well, it's just completely blocked up with this residue, and it's letting the fire slumber pretty much constantly if you have if you have it onto the oven side. But I've never seen it like that. So all I'm doing is just using the scraper that comes with the range to clean it out. I should be better off vacuuming that up from above. just scraping it off. There's not much to it really. This is all cleaning chimneys is, just scraping off the stuff that's in them. Get a look at the back one there. And what I'll do is I'll apply a vacuum to it and do a bit more. You can see there how it's just crusted on. So all of this layer of stuff all around the oven has stopped the oven getting properly warm. Typically the oven, if it's really hot, could go up to, well, I have seen it go off the scale. So at the moment it's roughly at 0 there. It goes up to 200. When it's slumbering, it should be around 250. That's what I find. This is in Fahrenheit. And then when it's getting good for cooking, it gets down to about 400, about 6 o'clock there. But I have seen it go way up over to 650, that kind of temperature. The other thing I should point out, inside the oven, there's another little door down here, and I'll be using this to vacuum out all of the residue that falls down the side and all the residue from the bottom. I'll also open up this door over here at the back. Now it's quite clean in there because it seems that most of the soot is getting caught by the oven box. That's the kind of stuff I'd normally see there, just a little bit of soot on the inside the chimney. I certainly haven't seen this kind of creamy, it's almost creamy looking. It looks like mold, but it's not. This layer of strange soot. I wonder if it's from burning damp ovals. It could be that. They might be too damp. In which case I need to find a way of drying them out. So what I'll do is I'll use this door here to broom upwards and downwards, and I'll put the vacuum cleaner on there. And the vacuum cleaner I'm using is a little one that I think I got in either Lidl or Aldi. It's just an ash vac, and you see them in hardware stores all the time. So prepare for some noise, and I'll show you what I do. Let's just have a look up this chimney with the light on the camera. It's actually pretty clean. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty good. And then let's have a look down into the firebox. You can see it's not bad. That's the back of the oven. So most of the stuff seems to be getting caught over here, and that's that spider webby looking stuff there. So down beneath the oven, this is the opening so that you can clean out what's underneath, and with the Stanley tool, this is the L-shaped hook, and you could easily bend one of these up. This does allow you to get into every corner underneath and right to the back and draw the dust to the front. I'll turn on the vacuum cleaner again and you'll hear the noise, but you can almost see, just by putting it in, it builds up, it just draws all the dust to the front. And so what I'll do is I'll draw as much dust as I can out. I'm just working on the right hand side, scraping off that dust that was stuck. You can see it coming out there. It's kind of brown and black together. And you see, it's not enough just to scrape the sides and let it fall down. You need to clean it out, because if you don't clean it out, it just gets clogged at the bottom. I'm doing it this way to demonstrate it, but what happens is if you do it this way, it releases a lot of dust without the vacuum being switched on. The other thing is you need to keep doing it until there's no more. It's not enough to say you've been over all of it because you know the geography in there. You need to keep raking until just stops coming out, because every time I rake the same area there's still more, because it just falls, there's so much in there that it falls over the top of the scraper. As you can see. So this is some of the clinker that's in the firebox and ultimately the ash box. You can see it's got kind of layers there, and if we look, it's difficult to see colours in it really, but we've got greens and yellows and different types of crystals. And if I smell it, it does have a distinct sulphur smell. Now, for a smokeless fuel, I'm not particularly happy with that, because I know, oh look at that, that's bright green. So you can see crystals of sulphur in it. That shouldn't be the case in smokeless fuel, or it should only have a minimal, but maybe this is what low looks like. In any case, I'm going to rake out this bit here again, because whenever I cleaned that chimney at the back, a bit more fell down, I presume. So I'll give that another little rake. I'll give a vacuum over here, and I'll empty out what's in the ash box down there, and then I'll light it, and it should all be fine. That's what I do. It's taken me nearly an hour to do this job, which is more than I would like to do, but of course I leave it for about 6 weeks between doing it, and really if I just gave that a rattle out every week with a brush and a vacuum, it wouldn't take me as long. It would only take 5 minutes, maybe 10. So there's economies of scale, or maybe there isn't. Maybe it takes exactly the same length of time. If I did it every week though, I would have more consistent cooking in the oven, and this is the oven that we use for cooking, and it's the hob we use. The other thing is that you saw how much stuff I had to scrape off the bottom of those rings and off the hob. All that stuff is insulating the hob from the heat, so if you want the kettle to boil or whatever like that, it takes longer. Likewise, the oven, it had a big layer of insulation of that soot and those kind of webs all around it. All that will stop the heat penetrating to the steel or to the cast iron, and that stops your food getting warm and cooking as quickly. The Stanley range though, I think it's a great thing. I'll give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you later. Check out my playlist for other chimney cleaning and Stanley range videos. See you later.